And welcome to Hero Power. I am your host, Avanties, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Zerotio.
What is up, gang? Man, we have a good show for you this week. I'm so excited. Let's just get to it.
A lot to talk about. But before we jump into it, how was your week in Hearthstone, Zerotio? I believe
Good.
you got Legend this week, didn't you?
I did. So I've had a really rough THL, and I still am having a really rough THL season. I'm 0-3. A couple of those were 2 and 3 losses, so there's points involved. But ultimately, I'm just not having the season. I've had some real life stuff, no excuses here, that have kind of impacted my play. And I was given a lineup this week that almost won me this week versus a great player by the name of Basting. She's just an awesome player. So no shame in losing to her. But part of that lineup, I was trying out this Highlander Hunter. And I've never played the new Highlander Hunter, mainly because, and I was like, why haven't I played this? And I realized it was because I didn't have Zixor. And I kept passing on it because I didn't want to craft Zixor. And I was like, you know what, let's go ahead and craft Zixor and test it out. So I decided to grind some games. I think I was sitting at Diamond 4. And next thing I know, I'm Legend. It just kind of happened. I had something like a 78% win rate and just flew up into Legend. And yeah, that's been my week in Hearthstone. And then I went on to do really well with the Highlander Hunter and really well with the Paladin in the list, but kind of fell short with the Priest. So unfortunately, that is what it is. But how about you? Have you been playing some Hearthstone? I know you've been remodeling the
I've been doing a lot of work around the house. Did completely work on my garage this week, but no, I've been playing some Hearthstone. I played in the Kentucky Hearthstone groups weekly tournament. We had 12 players this week competing, so it was a lot of fun. I lost my first round. Dropped down to the losers bracket, won my first round there, and then ended up losing to our buddy Huberto.
Okay.
In the losers bracket.
Love Huberto. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he is. He's a good guy. And but I had a lot of fun doing it. I played Enrage Warrior. I played Tempo Demon Hunter. And I played the secret Galakron rogue that we played on the show last week.
Okay.
Needless to say, rogue got banned every time.
Yeah, which is funny because, and we'll talk more about Grandmasters Week 5 here in the news, but rogue has been real streaky. One week it's the best class. Yeah. The next week it's the worst class. The next week it's the best class again. So and we're going to have some major changes and balance changes coming up on, I'd like to say nerfs, but there's more than nerfs in this balance changes coming up soon. And I don't know what kind of shakeup that's going to do with Rogue's power level.
Yeah.
Further. So Rogue's in a weird spot right now.
Yeah. Let's actually get into those balance changes that you're talking about. So, coming up tomorrow, May the 18th.
So if you're listening to this on a download, that's today.
That's today, yeah. If you're listening to it on our normal release day, they're releasing patch 17.2.1 that will include updates for almost a dozen cards in Standard. I mean, they have done so much work in just the last couple weeks on card balancing.
And you say almost a dozen. It is a dozen. That's a Tennessee math. Okay. It is exactly 12. Not that 13 baker's dozen that you eat at the Krispy Kreme. But, a dozen cards being changed. 4 of these are going to be what we call buffs. They're balance changes that are going to benefit players. And then 8 of the cards are going to be considered nerfs in which you will get a full dust refund if you disenchant them until June the 1st. Which I want to talk about that for a little bit, okay? So usually these dust refunds are until the next major patch. but they went ahead and told us that they are until June the 1st, which happens to be another Monday. Does this mean we're going to have another patch coming out that Monday? Maybe the solo content?
Ooh, that's right. We do still have solo content coming, don't we?
Yeah, and they said June. But usually the dust refunds are until the next patch because they patch the changes in. But it specifically says that these dust refunds will be until June 1st. So that kind of lets me know that something, at least patch-wise on the back end, is going to happen on June 1st. It could be preemptively for the solo content. It could be, adding in more bundles. It could be anything, but that tells me there's going to be more content in some way coming out June 1st, which is kind of, usually they're kind of cryptic about these dates, but they're just kind of giving them to us now.
Yeah. So, let's jump right into these card changes, because like you said, there's a lot of them. So, first up, we are going to see a change to the Paladin minion Aldor Attendant.
Yep.
Right now the card is a 2 mana, 2/3 reduce battle cry, reduce the cost of your Librams by 1 this game.
Yes.
This card is now going to be a 1 mana, 1/3 with the same battle cry. So they're reducing the mana cost, and they're reducing its attack power, but maintaining its health and ability. This becomes really strong as a 1-drop for paladins.
Yeah, so 2 mana 2/3s are kind of vanilla good. 2 mana 2/3s with a battle cry are decent kind of power level. 1 mana 1/3s with no text are put in decks because it's so much of a curve to have a 3 health minion on turn 1. 1 mana 1/3s with any kind of effect on them, a battle cry or death rattle, anything, is just premium, pretty much auto include. Furthermore, this puts your kind of power curve for the Aldor Lieutenant on, say, turn 2. Instead of just playing the Aldor Attendant, you can play the Aldor Attendant and give it a Blessing of Wisdom in the same turn.
Yeah, and
or turn 1 with a coin.
This battle cry affects your deck for the rest of the game. It's not while he's in play. The rest of the game, all of your Librams cost 1 less.
Yeah, and this is an auto include in that deck, and now it's just not only going to be an auto include, it's going to be a power card. The deck that I'm talking about is Pure Paladin, that relies heavily on Librams and uses Lady Liadrin and a lot of the Pure Paladin zealots and whatnot to kind of give that synergy. But you can also now include Call to Adventure, which is a 3 mana spell that draws the lowest cost minion in your deck and gives it +2/+2. So basically, with having 2 of those and 2 Aldor Attendants, it pretty much gives you 4 chances to draw Aldor Attendant. Plus, if you draw both your Aldor Attendant, it's just going to draw the next highest minion in your deck. That could be a Gurgle, it could be anything. And so the Call to Adventure is going to make that deck even more consistent. And that's a problem with Pure Paladin right now, is it's not consistently good. It high rolls and hits right. And I think with a lot of people say that Paladin wasn't given enough of a buff, but with this specific buff and the nerfs we're going to be talking about, I think Pure Paladin, specifically Libram Pure Paladin, is going to really raise up the power level, may even be a tier 1 deck. Right now, I played it in Legend and gained 3,000 ranks with it yesterday.
Okay.
And that's before the balance change.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to see that deck list after the show tonight. I'm definitely interested in attempting to play that.
We will likely play it on the show next week, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with it.
Okay. Next up is a change to the Shaman spell Torrent. Mm-hmm. This is a 5 mana spell. Deal 8 damage to a minion. Costs 3 less if you cast a spell last turn. So this is actually being changed from 5 mana to 4 mana, which means now if you cast a spell last turn, this will only cost 1 when you play it on your turn.
Yeah, I don't know how much this is going to make this Shaman better. However, one thing to note is in that Fist of Raden deck that has the potential of giving you the prime from Priest. If you cast a spell last turn, this now will cost 1. Therefore, summoning that prime for you, or that minion that creates a prime. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but it's the one from Priest. It's the 1 mana one. But now this makes that Fist of Raden deck even more consistent while still allowing it to have a higher power level for removal and whatnot. I think that's gonna, if Shaman is playable, do I think Torrent, is it an auto include in Shaman? I don't think so. I don't like this spot 8 damage removal. I don't think there's a meta that needs it right now. We're very aggressive heavy, tempo heavy. Your minions have 1 to 4 health, and you really don't need a spot 8 damage. But maybe a larger demon-based Demon Hunter comes out, and then this is more viable.
Yeah. The next is another Shaman card. It's an elemental minion, the Shattered Rumbler. It's a 5 mana 4/6 with a battle cry. If you cast a spell last turn, deal 2 damage to all minions. So this is actually getting an attack buff. It's going to be a 5 mana 5/6.
Yeah, I think this is actually a big positive change for this card, because at a 5 mana 4/6, it didn't really. Yeah, you might have cleared the board, but your opponent can come back with a larger taunt-based minion, a 5 attack taunt minion, or something, or 5 health taunt minion, where then swinging back the next turn, you kind of lost that potential because you probably sacrificed your board if you had any, because most of Shamans have that low 2 health minions. So I think it's a good positive change. It allows you to have a good semi-removal, but still have good board pressure, because 5 damage is a big difference from 4 damage when it comes down to tempo. You're over the course of 5 turns, you're doing 20 damage, or over the course of 4 turns, you're doing 20 damage. So, and that matters right now because tempo is the way to play.
Mm-hmm. And then we have another Shaman. This is a legendary, the Lurker Below. It's a 6 mana 6/3 battle cry. Deal 3 damage to an enemy minion. If it dies, repeat on one of its neighbors. And it cascades and continues down. So if it deals 3 damage and kills a minion, it hits the next one. If it deals 3 damage and kills a minion, it hits the next one. This is now going to be a 6 mana 6/5. So it's getting +2 health.
So you played this card because of synergy-based decks, and specifically so you could do quite a bit of clear with it. It was a quote-unquote better fire elemental. I didn't see that because it didn't leave back a lasting body that threatened your opponent next turn that they had to get rid of. They could easily clear it with another minion that was alive, because likely it has 3 attack, or a simple spell. It being 6/5 means it's going to remove at least 1 minion, possibly more, and then will likely take 2 minions to clear it. So this is very good, and it's worthy. See, I thought its stats before was worthy and epic, but not a legendary. I didn't understand why you made it so only 1 copy of this can be in your deck. But now that it's a 6/5, it's worth it being a legendary, in my opinion.
Right. Okay, so
that's all the buffs.
Those are the buffs. Yeah. Now the following 8 cards are getting nerfed, and all 8 of them will be eligible for that full dust refund that we talked about a minute ago, up until June the 1st. So,
yeah, and the one thing to note is a lot of these are from Ashes of Outlands, which right now a lot of your reward packs, and some people are still spending gold on Ashes of Outland packs, you can open some of these. So if you have any Ashes of Outland packs that you haven't opened yet, just wait until these come out, and then you might get them, or open them and don't dust anything yet.
Yeah. So first up is the most annoying of the Demon Hunter minions by far, the Priestess of Fury. If you are unfamiliar with this card, I don't know what hole you've been hiding in or what card game you've been playing, but it wasn't Hearthstone. So this minion is a 7-mana 6/7. At the end of your turn, deal 6 damage, randomly split among all enemies. So this card is game-changing for players when they can get it. And now it's going to be a 7-mana 6/5. So they're taking away 2 health, which I think is phenomenal because it brings it more in line with some of the other minions that Demon Hunter has. You know, now you can use the Adept and a one health or 1 attack minion to clear this.
Yeah, or 1 attack with your face.
Or 1 attack with your face, right?
Yeah. So, and one thing to note, of all of these nerfs, if I'm not mistaken, involve changing the stats or the text, not mana. Now, normally they would just, raise the mana by 1, and then it kind of nerfed it, but maybe it didn't. I like that they're actually messing with the stats a little bit more in these nerfs. One thing, so this is considered a nerf, but in some matchups, it's a buff. Because in the Priest matchup, you didn't like that it was a 6/7, because what they could do is they could soul mirror, so all your minions would attack, but it would leave alive on both sides of the board a 6/1 Priestess of Fury, and then the priest who casts soul mirror, their Priestess of Fury go off and inevitably kill the other Priestess of Fury. So this is actually nerfed not only to Demon Hunter, but to the counter attack, the counter to Demon Hunter, which was using soul mirror. Now, obviously, this is still going to kill it, but you're not going to be left with the Priestess of Fury on the priest side with 6/1 stats still. So that's kind of sad because I love that counter play. But other than that, I think this is going to be healthy for the game. It's easier to get rid of a 6/5 than it is a 6/7. Clearly, this is a good change.
Yeah,
I think it's still going to be playable though. They're still going to put it in the deck.
Yeah. Then we have another Demon Hunter change to one of the probably favorite Demon Hunter cards, the Crimson Sigil Runner. It's a 1-mana 2/1 outcast, draw a card. This is a very popular turn 1 play for Demon Hunter. And so they're reducing its attack. So it's going to be a 1-mana 1/1 with outcast, draw a card. So I don't think it'll affect it too much. I think it'll still see a lot of play.
The problem was when the Demon Hunter was on the play and they didn't have the coin, you, as the person on the coin, sometimes couldn't even coin something out because it had 2 health.
Mm-hmm.
Or it had 3 health, and with the Sigil Runner and their hero power, they could just clear it. So this puts it more in line that now that person on the coin can play a 2 health minion or a 3 health minion comfortably, and this kind of limits that turns 1 and 2 for Demon Hunter, which is really where Demon Hunter wins. When they come out the gate 1 and 2, it's really hard to counter them. And so now they're going to have to choose, do I want to put out my 1/2 demon that grows, or do I want to put out the Sigil Runner? Because obviously the Sigil Runner isn't going to counter what my opponent puts out as well. So I like this. It's still going to be a good card draw engine in a deck. But it makes it less viable early game.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we have a Hunter card, Scavengers Ingenuity. It's 2-mana spell, draw a beast, give it +3/+3. So now this is going to be draw a beast, give it +2/+2, which I feel like, brings it a little more in line. This was one of the really, I don't know if I would say key, but it was a pretty key card to the OTK Boar Hunter.
Or as I like to call it, the Boar TK Hunter.
Yeah.
Because you got a big 4/4 boar from Scavengers Ingenuity, and then you buffed it a bunch of times, making it like 7/7, and then copied them. So you got a bunch of 7/7 boars. Well, now those boars are going to be 6/6s. So I expected this to go up a mana cost and not reduce the benefit given. But I think reducing the benefit given actually makes it better. Not as impactful in that roundabout hunter. It's more of a tempo hunter that you use it to draw things like Zixor or the 2/3 that gives you your secret out of your deck if you use your hero power. That being a 4/5 instead of a 5/6 is going to be a lot better now, because having that huge swing turn where you're putting down a 5/6 on turn 4 and you're doing 2 damage to your opponent's face and putting in a secret. Still, being a 4/5 still going to be big, but not nearly as big as it being a 5/6. So this is good. Again, I think it's still going to be playable. When you don't mess with the mana curve of a deck, those cards can still be considered for those same decks. And I think this effect still makes it strong.
Okay. Next up, we have one of the most popular rogue cards, which is the legendary Shadow Jeweler Hanar. It's a 2-mana 1/5. After you play a secret, discover a secret from a different class. It's now going to be a 1/4. So they're reducing the health of Shadow Jeweler Hanar by 1. Which, I mean, one of the biggest things about Shadow Jeweler Hanar is how tough it is to kill early. So this kind of makes it a little easier.
Yeah, the thing is there wasn't any spot removal like spells that dealt with it well enough, and so you had to run into it. Well, if you ran into it and it was a bamboozle, all of a sudden the Shadow Jeweler Hanar turns into a 5-drop. So there's a problem. It being a 1/4, you can now eviscerate it. You can now soulfire it. You can backstab and play SI on it. You can clear it easily without using minions to run into it, therefore triggering the secrets. So I don't think overall this lessens Shadow Jeweler Hanar in that deck, but it does lessen that turn 4 play where you play Shadow Jeweler Hanar into Bamboozle, and then now you have a 5-drop on the board, and your opponent had to play suboptimally to go ahead and pop your secret or play around your secret. So I think this lessens that early game with Shadow Jeweler Hanar, but ultimately I think the decks will adjust so Shadow Jeweler Hanar is more of a middle, like a mid-game, turn 6 to 8 play, and this won't change anything.
Next up is one of my favorite cards from the Rogue deck that we played last week, and that is Blackjack Stunner. This card was MVP for us multiple times last week on the show. If you guys missed that, go back, watch the gameplay for last week's show. It was pretty crazy. So if you're not familiar with Blackjack Stunner, it is a 1-mana 1/2 with a battle cry. If you control a secret, return a minion to its owner's hand, it costs 2 more. So basically what they're reducing is that it costs 2 is now going to be it costs 1 more. So but I mean it's still a pretty it can still be a pretty significant delay tactic.
So the big thing this impacts is in the past there were some really big swing turns when you play a 9-drop, and there were a lot of 9-drops that were being played, whether they were generated by random effects or they were in the decks. Alexstrasza,
Ysera.
Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, Ysera. There were tons of very impactful late game 9 drops that when they were bounced back to the hand, they were locked in the hand, could not be played.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of big 10 drops. Now, sometimes you'll get a 10 drop or somebody will play a 10 drop, and this does lock it out, but it's less likely to have it locked out. And I think the change from 2 to 1 isn't so much the rest of the cards. It's specifically those 9 drops that are getting locked into people's hands. And this is a good change. Does this change the playability of the card? No, I don't believe it does. I mean, even if it was returned to owner's hand and that was it, and there was no additional cost, it was basically just a sap tied to for 1 mana tied to a 1/2 body with the contingency that you had to have a secret. I think that's playable. So the fact that it was costing 2 more made it astronomically playable.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And costing 1 more, it's just still better than a sap, and it can target minions that can't be targeted by spells.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still awesome. This is still an A-rated card in my opinion, after the nerf.
We should go over and see what how many stars Trump gave this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Who knows?
All right. Moving on, we have a Warlock minion, the Imprisoned Scrap Imp. So, again, if you guys watched the show 3 weeks ago?
Yes.
3 weeks ago, we played Zoolock. And this card is very important to that deck list because it's a 2 mana, 3/3, dormant for 2 turns. When this awakens, give all minions in your hand +2/+2. So this card, even today, if you guys watched the Grandmasters, which we're going to talk about here in a little while, this card broke the game open for Empanizado to win his first match of round robin. So basically this card is being changed to read, when this awakens, give all minions in your hand +2/+1. So they won't.
Yes.
They'll only get a +1 health buff instead of a +2, but they're still getting the +2 attack bonus, which is pretty good.
Where this really makes a big difference is in that Mage matchup, and what they did is they did a lot of nerfs. Not so much just to bring those classes down, but to bring some of the other classes up. And Mage has that flame trap, the secret that does 3 damage whenever a minion attacks. Well, with Zoo, a lot of times you were at 4 health break point. So with the scrap imps, well, now you'll be at that 3 health break point, which severely limits. They even talked about this in Grandmasters cast with Frodan and TJ today, that after the nerf, that flame trap is not going to be as impactful anymore. Because, and you didn't just see it in Mage, you also saw it in the Rogue with Shadow Jeweler Hanar. So I think this is going to bring Zoo down a little bit, which I think is sad because Zoo's not one of those decks that's like in the top tier. I mean, you have your Hunter, you have your Warrior, you have your Demon Hunter, and then you kind of have Zoo picking at some of those matchups. And I wish they didn't nerf something that was in Zoo, but this could be preemptive. This could be because of the other classes being nerfed. Zoo would have been too powerful, so they kind of gave it a little bit of a nudge down. It wasn't bad enough that it needed to be buffed like Paladin and Shaman, but at least needed to be put in that little bit of nerf to kind of even up all the other matchups. So I'm kind of sad at this one. This is the one I don't think needed to be nerfed, but I kind of understand it from a design point of view.
All right. Next up, we have the Warrior card, Blood Boil Brute. So this is the 7 mana, 6/8 rush, costs 1 less for each damaged minion. So we've been seeing this card get a lot of play in that Enrage Warrior deck that's floating around.
Oh yeah.
So this is going to actually get a 1 attack nerf. So it's still going to be a 7 mana 5/8 rush, costs 1 less for each damage. Do you think the -1 attack is going to affect this card's viability in Rage Warrior?
I don't, because in most cases you're playing it with a risky skipper, and that 1 damage is going to hit that taunt minion anyways, or whatever minion you're hitting. So I don't think it's going to impact it so much. However, I do think the next nerf will impact it.
Yeah. So the next nerf is to another warrior card, Bloodsworn Mercenary. So this is a 3 mana 3/3 epic battle cry. Choose a damaged friendly minion, summon a copy of it. So I know this card really made way for a lot of burst kills with the 4/3 charge minion. So they're reducing both the attack and health of this card, and now it's going to be a 3 mana 2/2 instead of a 3 mana 3/3.
Yeah, and that's big in that deck, because before you could play Risky Skipper, another minion doing a sweeping 1 point of damage, play Bloodsworn Mercenary to copy that minion. Then you could play one more minion after the Bloodsworn Mercenary and have a really good board of a lot of 1 health minions that have good substantial attacks with them. But the Bloodsworn Mercenary would die after instead of being a 3/1, it would end up dying. So it kind of limits how many minions they can throw out. Again, I like that they made these stat changes instead of mana, because if they would have made mana changes to these last 2 cards, it might have broken the deck. I don't think this is going to break the deck, but you're going to have to either decide that Bloodsworn Mercenary is more importantly copying a minion and you're okay with it dying off, or you'll play 1 less minion and you want to keep the Bloodsworn Mercenary alive at 2/1. So it changes the way your turns develop, and I like that. It's another thing to notice that Bloodsworn Mercenary is the only card in the list of buffs and nerfs that's not out of Ashes of Outland. It's the only card that came from Saviors of Uldum. Yeah. So it's the only non-Ashes of Outland card in this list.
All right, so that does it for all of the buffs and nerfs. There is 1 bug fix coming in this patch to resolve an issue with Ethereal Conjurer locking the game state. That will be resolved tomorrow.
Yeah, and that was mainly in Wild, because Ethereal Conjurer is a Wild exclusive card now. And basically when you play it, it would summon the minion and then it would just freeze, and the client would freeze. You'd have to restart your client, and then the rope would hit, and it does it for both sides. So I'm glad they're fixing bugs like this as well. I hadn't heard many complaints about this bug, but evidently it was substantial enough. So
yeah. All right, so that does it for the patch 17.2.1 changes. Before we move on to our Grandmasters news for the week, I want to shout out Mustachio Green. Thank you for the follow. We appreciate it.
Mustachio Green, he just got Legend for the first time, I think, last month.
I believe that's correct.
And made sure to tweet the show. We appreciate all the support, brother. We really do.
So, all right, let's dive right into season 3, week 5 of Grandmasters. Zerotio, why don't you tell us what's been going on in the round robin rounds?
Yeah, so I'm not going to go into heavy detail in the round robin, mainly because our friends over at Coin Concede do a really good job of doing a week-by-week breakdown. So I'm just going to kind of do an overview. Asia Pacific finished up their week 3, or the week 5. It's the third week of, or it's the second week of round robin. So they finished their 3 rounds of Swiss. They're in the second week of round robin, and things are starting to flesh out. Basically, you want to get to that 4-win break point, because that's guarantees that you're not going to be relegated out or feared for relegation, because at that point you've had enough wins because it's round robin. You'll only get 3 more losses and you'll be safe. So Glory is sitting on top of Division A and APAC with 4 wins. He's 4-0. And Division B, Tyler is sitting up there. Nobody's undefeated in that division, but he's sitting up there with 3 wins after 4 games. While I say nobody's undefeated, Tom and Blitzchung are after 3 games. So they're sitting on top there. Fear for relegation. In Division B, Samuel Shao and Frosty are winless right now. So if they don't pick it up and get some key wins over some of those people ahead of them, they will be automatically relegated, because in Division B, the last 2 players in that division after round robin are automatically relegated. The 5th and 6th player in Division B, along with the 7th and 8th in Division A, play for that last relegation slot. So they need to pick it up. In the EU, we have Yarla sitting on top of Division A, along with Viper sitting on top of Division B. Both of them are playing really, really strong. Viper barely missed his chance to get into Division A, and it's probably for good reason, because Division A in EU is absolutely stacked. Your last 2 people that could go to that relegation 4-person relegation tournament where 1 person gets relegated, the 2 on the bottom right now are Silvername and Hunter Ace. Former world champion Hunter Ace. And that's not because they're not good. It's because this division, out of all the divisions in each region, is absolutely stacked. And I don't expect those bottom 2 players to do bad. That makes it even worse for the Division B 5th and 6th place players, because they're going to have those 2 players or equal caliber to play against in that relegation tournament. And in Division B, Boston and Zim are sitting in the bottom. Zim winless so far. I'd hate to see him relegated the season he immediately gets introduced into Grandmasters. But, it is what it is. He has to pick it up. And going into Americas, they are playing right now, so a lot of the wins are still fluctuating, a lot of the records. But sitting on top, Bloodyface and Gallon were both undefeated, and Bloodyface just took his series over Gallon to sit on top of Division A, with Monsanto and now Gedon sitting on the bottom. Now Gedon still hasn't gotten a win, and he needs one desperately. Sitting on top of Division B is Firebat and ETC. It's kind of in the air. PNC is winless so far, so he's pretty much in a bottom seat for relegation. And then Purple, Papa Jason, and ETC are all sitting with only 1 win. Worst off being Purple, while his losses have him winning the tiebreakers to be above those other 2 players. He's also played 4 of his games, where they've only played 2 for Papa Jason and 3 for ETC. So that the Americas Division B is really up in the air of who's going to get relegated.
As you just pointed out, Papa Jason and PNC, 2 of those players who are fighting for their life, are actually playing right now against each other. So only one of them can get a win. PNC is winless thus far. So if he were to beat Papa Jason, you're going to have that 3-way tie between Papa Jason, ETC, and PNC, all with 1 win. 4-way tie if you count Purple. So yeah, it's a really tight race in the bottom of Division B to not get relegated.
Yeah, and the only real safe spot is that 5th and 6th position where nothing. Well, you would still go into the relegation tournament. I think the top 4 in Division B are pretty locked up with Firebat, Frozen, Zalay, and Muzzy. I think it's going to stay that way because a lot of their matches are against other players, and I believe that they'll kind of rise to the top. So I think the top half is kind of solved. The bottom half is solved, but where they lie, whether they get to fight for their life in the 4-person relegation tournament or if they just get relegated at the end of round robin. So we'll talk about this more in the weeks to come. But to me, where EU kind of has so many stacked players, Division A, and then Division B is kind of the mismatch of people. The A and B in Americas is very competitive, but it's evenly split competitive. You have top 4 and then bottom 4 in both regions pretty definitively.
Yeah.
So the kind of last week of round robin might not even be decided in Americas, because I think it's going to go right down to it. And it's exciting. I'm really, really enjoying this Grandmaster system. Have you been watching? Are you liking it?
Yes, I have absolutely been loving the format change that they did this year versus the way they did it last year. It's much more enjoyable and a lot easier to, get behind your favorite players and really track how they're doing.
Yeah.
So I've really enjoyed the changes they made, and I hope they continue with that going forward. So
after talking about the nerfs and the buffs that happened, and then talking about Grandmasters and kind of what we've seen there so far through 5 weeks, with these nerfs and buffs, how do you think it's going to flush out the meta coming next week for both ladder, where we play, and for the Grandmaster system?
So I think, like you said, I think we may see Warrior not as prevalent. Warrior has been banned a lot in Grandmasters. I think Warrior may not be as prevalent, and I think we may actually start seeing, I hope, some Paladin get played. I know you had said we're going to probably look at playing Paladin on the show next week, but I think it would be awesome to see a pure Paladin get played in Grandmasters if these changes help as much as we think they're going to.
Yeah, so I agree with you 100%. I think that we're going to see some kind of position changes. I don't think it's so much going to be, your tier 1s, tier 2s are going to change too much. I think you're still going to have a lot of your tier 1 classes still there, but maybe Paladin joins them.
Yeah, and I mean, the biggest change, the class with the biggest change was Shaman. Shaman had 3 cards buffed.
Yeah.
Priest was untouched.
Priest is in a good spot.
Priest is in a really good spot. And the then you had Demon Hunter with 2 nerfs, Rogue with 2 nerfs, and Warrior with 2 nerfs. And then the others were interspersed with 1 apiece. So I really think this can help Paladin and Shaman maybe get to a more viable spot to where we're seeing them get played.
Well, Priest was always that 4th class. A lot of times if you brought a four class Conquest lineup, it was that 4th class you brought in to kind of counter Warrior or something like that. Paladin was almost playable in my opinion, and this is coming from a Paladin main, so I'm a little biased. I think pure Paladin was almost playable, and the one nerf that it's getting, the one buff that it's getting, is going to make it playable. Shaman's the only one that was literally not playable at all.
Okay, what about Mage? Because Mage doesn't have anything buffed or nerfed right now, but we're not seeing a lot of it except for very sporadically.
That's the one thing I'm not sure on, because I think the reason Mage isn't being played so much is because of the prevalence of some of these other classes that are getting nerfed, like Warrior, like Demon Hunter specifically. So I think those Mage is just going to benefit from lesser power. Now, whether that greatly improves the matchup with Mage, I don't know. How that power level of Mage, kind of moving up a little bit because of the nerfs, affects things like Shaman and Paladin from getting the benefits they want to. Again, I don't know. I think the biggest outlier is going to be what happens with Mage and all this, because we didn't see anything get touched, but we saw a lot of stuff that counters the Mage and kind of holds it back get touched. So Mage might be that one that's people are thinking the sneaky class is going to pop in and be good after all this is going to be Paladin.
Yeah, and I'm hoping
it might be Mage. It might be Mage.
It might be. We'll have to see.
So, we'll have to see.
We'll know more tomorrow. That's for sure.
We'll definitely know more. I'm really excited what this is going to do. What I wish they would do in the Swiss rounds, we had Conquest and Last Hero Standing. Then we had that weird bring 10, ban 6 classes lineup.
which was
and
awesome.
It was fun, but a lot of people said, "Oh, you just saw the people playing the 4 worst classes." I would love to see. It was. I would love to see that now after this balance update. I would love for them to have in the round robin maybe had a week or two where they swapped it up. But I know in the format, because some players play 2 games one weekend, next weekend they may play only 1. They need to have a consistent format. But maybe somewhere we can have a one-off tournament that does that format after the changes and see if the 4 classes that were always brought because they weren't banned stay the same or if they move around.
Okay. All right. Well, that brings us to this week's Tavern Brawl. And this week's Tavern Brawl is Battle of the Bands. So in this, you will pick 4 cards. Your opponent will then have the option to ban one of them. And then you get a deck full of your remaining 3 cards. So, Zerotio, have you done this? What did you play?
I played Paladin, and I brought the Outfitter, the 2-mana minion, 2-mana 1/1 that buffed all minions in your hand. McGurgle, I can't remember the other 2, and then another buff card, and I didn't think it was all that strong, but I was like, I'll try this out, see if I need to change anything. My opponent, I can't remember what it was, but there was one card that seemed like it was the linchpin of what he had to do. So I was like, well, I'm banning that. I banned it. He conceded before even playing a card. So that is my experience with this Tavern Brawl this week, because I haven't played it since. So I was like, wow, that was the easiest pack I've ever had.
Nice.
I just banned the card he didn't want me to. Because what it does is it says your opponent picks 4 cards and you ban one. But, and I don't know if this is in order that you pick them, it shows you 3 and then it shows you a mystery card. So you don't get to see all 4. You see 3 and then 1 is just whatever the 4th, either I don't know if it does it randomly or if it's the 4th card they picked or what.
I'm pretty sure it randomly chooses one of your 4 cards to be the mystery card. Because this isn't the first time we've had this.
Yeah, I haven't. I think I've had similar experience before where I picked a certain card and my opponent just concedes. Yeah. It's like, whatever. But yeah, it's fun. I haven't really got to enjoy it though.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I'm glad I didn't have to play more because I have stuff that I have to do for the show and for THL and stuff. So I was like, well, let me get back on the ladder and just hit it again.
All right. Well, that brings us to this week's deck list, which, as we mentioned back at the top of the show, is Highlander Hunter. Mm-hmm. So there has been some recent changes to this deck list from the Highlander Hunter we may have seen a month or even 2 months ago. So I'm going to run down the deck list, and then I'll let Zerotio kind of talk about how the deck plays. So it is, and remember it's Highlander, so it's a single copy of every card. You've got Blazing Battle Mage, Dwarven Sharpshooter, Tracking, Acidic Swamp Ooze, Corrosive Breath, Explosive Trap, Fairy Dragon, Freezing Trap, Imprisoned Felmaw, Phase Stalker, Scavengers Ingenuity, Snake Trap, and Zephrys the Great. So right now we're like 10 cards in, and they're all 1 and 2 cost.
Yeah.
So then you've got Animal Companion, Desert Spear, Diving Griffin, Kill Command, Primordial Explorer, Stormhammer, Unleash the Hounds, Zixer, Apex Predator, Dragonbane, Evasive Feywind, Big Ol' Whelp, Faceless Corruptor, Rottnest Drake, Varanus, Dino Tamer Bran, Siamat, and Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. So, first thing, when you look at this deck list is you see it's kind of an amalgamation of Dragon Hunter and maybe like a secret hunter. But Zerotio, what's your takeaway on this?
It's got 30 good cards. That's kind of the way Highlander decks go. You just play 30 solid cards, and then kind of the way your draw is kind of dictates your game plan. If you draw secret heavy, then you're going to play secret heavy. You draw dragon heavy, then you're going to kind of rely on your dragons. So it is kind of dictated by your draw slightly, but there are a lot of really good cards in here. The reason I hadn't played it is because I didn't have Zix or Apex Predator, so I went ahead and disenchanted some of my Goldens and crafted that card, and I don't regret it. It's a very strong card. Anytime you can get it off of Scavengers Ingenuity, again, I don't know how hard this deck is going to be impacted by Scavengers Ingenuity, but I think it going down to +2/+2 instead of +3/+3 is going to be just fine, because the Zixor being a 4/6 instead of a 5/7 isn't really going to matter too much. And it also has a lot of really good combination cards. When you're able to use the Desert Spear and equip it on 3, and then on 5 or on 4 with the coin, you can attack with your weapon and then produce a Locust, which you can then turn into a second 4/4 with Faceless Corruptor. There's just some good combination of cards. The big old Whelp is just good for keeping your activation. It draws you a card and it keeps your activation on Stormhammer. Stormhammer with any of your dragons is just good. We've seen this deck before, and it's kind of just flushed out. It was really good for me. I went like 21-5 to shoot up to Legend. And then I had some trouble once I got into Legend. I switched over to Pure Paladin, but it's just a good, solid deck. Dragon Queen Alexstrasza is kind of your nail in the coffin when you're at that end and you're running out of your removal and your tools or pressure on the board. You can just drop it and have a ton of pressure. It's a good deck. It's just a solid deck right now.
Yeah, I went to build this and realized I'm missing both Zixor and Dragonbane and sitting on 80 dust. So I unfortunately was not able to build this to play this week. So I'm looking forward to checking it out, seeing it played. So.
Yeah, it is kind of a wallet deck. It's got a lot of legendaries.
It does. It's very expensive.
But if you did have the majority of this deck last expansion at the end of Dragons, where it was less Highlander, more just Dragon Hunter, then it isn't too far to be able to. The Zixor is probably the one card. It was the only card I was missing, and I didn't feel comfortable crafting it. But Zixor is being put in quite a few different variations of Hunter right now, so I think it's a safe craft if you have the dust.
Mm-hmm. All righty. Well, I do believe that's going to do it for us this week. If you're joining us on Twitch or YouTube, please stay tuned as we are going to transition to the live play portion of our show and check out this Highlander Hunter. If you are listening via our audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast, where you can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOGamers. Those include all of our playthroughs, and on our website at heropowerhs.com. If you enjoy the show, you'd like to help support and improve it, or if you'd like to talk Hearthstone with us, you can join our patron-only Discord server over at patreon.com/heropower. And we'll see you all again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
Alrighty, sir.
All right, you getting in?
I'm in. I am just waiting on you to find an opponent.
All right, well, I'm spinning the wheel.
Worthy.
And my spectate is on. There has been some bugs in challenging and spectating, so hopefully we can get in today. I know a lot of THL members couldn't play their matches because you try to challenge somebody, but it would only lets you spectate them even though they weren't playing.
Yeah, well, they took away the button. You just click on the eyeball and it takes you straight in.
Yeah, it's so it's not working right. There's a lot of bugs with it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, my opponent couldn't challenge me, but I could challenge her.
Okay. So we're playing against another hunter, and our opening hand is Stormhammer, Snake Trap, Evasive Feywing. What are we looking for in our mulligan here?
Against Hunter, we probably want that Stormhammer. I don't think the Snake Trap is going to be too useful early on. I think we could throw it back, but since I want to keep the Stormhammer, I'll probably keep the Evasive.
Okay.
That way we can deal with whatever they put out on 2 with the Stormhammer, and then next turn have the Evasive Feywing to keep the charges. So, if that makes sense.
Okay.
That way we can have it over a course of a couple turns.
And we drew into Varanus and Animal Companion,
So they mulliganed 2 cards and kept 2. Probably Face Hunter, though they didn't do anything on. No, that's right. We went first, so let's see how their first turn goes.
Yeah,
Face Hunter is really popular.
No quest,
Nothing.
So.
Okay, so we're just gonna hit the button.
Yep, hit the button and end the turn. Don't forget to use your hero power.
So either they drew really bad, or we're probably playing a mirror match.
It looks like a mirror match.
It gives us something to use the Stormhammer on.
Yep.
So this tells me he probably has Stormhammer in hand, and we just drew the Acidic Swamp Ooze, so that's looking real good for us. So I'm going to Stormhammer that down. This helps us in a lot of ways, because if he plays a Stormhammer, we can develop the Feywing, or we can play the Acidic Swamp Ooze. So we have a lot of choices going into turn 4.
Right.
I expect he probably was wanting to play his Stormhammer, and he probably will, and just not swing it.
Nope.
Oh, nope. He's going to go into Feywing of his own.
Phase Stalker.
Oh, Phase Stalker.
And
just so he can use his hero power.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is where we've got 2 choices here. We can just Corrosive Breath that down and not worry about his secret, and then we can hero power or play our Snake Trap. Or we Feywing and swing into it for no charge.
I don't hate the idea of the corrosive and the hero power.
Corrosive hero power, not corrosive Snake Trap?
We don't have a minion on the board, so...
No, but it'll set up for when we play one next turn.
It will, yeah, that's fine.
So we're going to corrosive.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to play Animal Companion next turn.
Mm-hmm.
But we may play Evasive Feywing.
Right.
Because if we play Evasive Feywing, it's because we want to use our swing. So I think for that reason, we play the Snake Trap, just in case we have to play the Feywing.
Okay.
Because if we have to play the Feywing, we can't play the Snake Trap alongside of it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So we go ahead and preemptively play it, knowing it's not going to be able to get popped. And also, if he develops his own hammer, we can Animal Companion and Acidic Swamp Ooze.
Correct.
There we go. There's a hammer. And he's swinging it. What this tells me is he likely feels confident he has a secret. He has a dragon in his hand he wants to play next turn.
Well, I'm wondering if he wasn't testing the secret to see what he could eliminate.
Could be. So do we Animal Companion and Swamp Ooze?
Yeah.
I'm gonna Animal Companion first, just in case it's Huffer. That way we could rush at the face to test the secret. It's not. I don't want to use my weapon.
Right.
And then we'll Acidic. And this is good, too, because if he happens to play a larger minion, like, say, a big ol' whelp, we can Varanus and swing it down with our weapon. Because Varanus will reduce it down within damage to be killed with our weapon. And we won't lose a charge. testing each other out. We're playing chicken. We're trying to see who can get the most value.
So next turn, I think you go face with the ooze in case it is an ice trap, and we could get it back in our hand to kill the other. Well, he's probably not running another weapon, but yeah.
Well, he's probably running Desert Spear like we do.
That's true. Yeah.
Now, Zephyrus is probably going to prioritize weapon destruction. So it's going to give him an ooze when he probably didn't want an ooze in his list. It's probably also going to give him like backstab, or maybe a way to deal with the entire board. I don't think this is an optimal state to give you what you want. Yes, there's his ooze. That's actually not terrible for us. Ooh,
that's pretty good too.
So we swing face with the Swamp Ooze.
I think
to test secret, and if it's explosive, we can clear the other minion.
Exactly.
So it is freezing. So now we have that back. That's good. So I say we clear the Zephyrus with the Leok, Dragonbane, and tap the button.
I like it,
because this puts a good minion he has to deal with, and it might clear the 3/2. And if it goes face, which it did, that's just
bonus damage.
Yeah, that just increases our timer. Now, he feels like he has to run into this Dragon's Bane, and Snake Trap's up.
Yep. And so is Leok. So those will all be 2-1.
Because if he pops a Snake Trap and then he develops any minions behind it, Varanus also allows those snakes to easily kill whatever.
Right.
Now, he may play a explosive trap behind it, lessening the value. But he's in a tough spot here. He's not in a optimal... I think he did not get the value off that Zephyrus he wanted. And see, we can get rid of his Desert Spear without having to use our Zephyrus as a way to deal with it. Okay, so that's 4 damage on that. Is he gonna have to run both minions in? If he plays a secret, he'll run in the ooze. Oh no, he'll go face with the ooze if he plays a secret. Apex Predator, okay. Killed Leok, that's smart.
That's fine, yeah.
Let's look at our damage here.
8, 10. We have 10.
We got 10. So we could, if we choose not to hero power, we could evasive Feywing and just swing face. Or do we feel like we need to kill that?
I don't think we do. I don't think we need to kill it. I'd say you play the evasive Feywing and play the Blazing Battle Mage and the
hero power?
And the hero power and just send everything face.
Okay. So we are going to hero power. We're not going to use kill command. Okay.
Correct.
I'm cool with that.
We can save the kill command to try to burst him down next turn. Set for like a 2-turn lethal.
I like it. In this board state, if he decides to develop heavy into it, Varanus just deals with it if he doesn't clear these secrets, these snakes.
Yeah, there's no reason for us to clear the Zixer. He should be the one using it to clear.
Yeah, because he can't clear the Feywing with just the Zixer.
Right.
Unleash, okay. He's gonna if he's using Unleash to clear, that's a good for us.
That's very
good.
And
he is. And this isn't great value because he's gonna have to leave some 1/1s up.
Either leaves up 2 1/1s or leaves up the 2/2.
I think he leaves up 2 1/1s. Oh, he corrosive breaths it. Does he have a? He does have a dragon in hand. Okay, it's good to know. So he does get a full board clear here.
And
then he's gonna tap the hero power. Nope, Felmaw.
Imprisoned Felmaw.
So now at this point, we want to tap the button every single turn.
Yep. So we can. we could drop Varanus here, but I think we just play our Imprisoned Felmaw
Yeah, we definitely play our Prison Felmall. We hit the button.
Yeah.
The question is, do we fear the Desert Spear enough that we need this ooze? Or can we just throw the ooze down as a 3-2 body he has to deal with? Because it's damage.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, because that's 3 points of damage he cannot take.
Right. We've got 8 health on him right now, so.
Yep. And he's worried about us drawing it down our
There's the Desert Spear.
There's the Desert Spear. I'm kind of surprised. Well, he can't afford to hit it with his face. And this is, I must say, this is Faceless Corruptor. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Face Stalker. So Face Stalker hero power.
Yep.
Get us Explosive Trap. Then we got Freezing Trap. So do we get this 5 damage in while we can?
I think so. I think you go ahead and hit him with the kill command.
Because what this does is this, he has to watch how he trades. He needs to have minions left on the board.
I mean, if he's playing,
good.
Playing our list, he doesn't have any other health gain, does he? Except for
Zephyrus, but he used Zephyrus.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't have any other except maybe hoping for something off Dragon Queen Alexstrasza.
Yeah, Dragon Queen Alexstrasza into the Paladin Dragon or Nazari.
Yeah. Otherwise, he's dead in 2 turns.
Yeah, he could be doing this turn. He has to trade optimally in a way that he leaves minions up because of Imprisoned Felmall.
Yeah.
Prison Felmall goes face, he loses. And he's already played his Freezing Trap, so he can't play Freezing Trap to counter the Felmall, kind of like what we just did. But we didn't consciously do that. That was
right.
Our Stalker chose that for us. So he pretty much has to push face and then just hope that this Felmall doesn't hit his face. And we have so many draws for lethal right now.
So our Freezing Trap's already been played, and our Snake Trap's already been played. So
all we have is Explosive Trap.
All we have is Explosive Trap. If we can top deck it right here.
Go face? I think it went face.
Nope.
Nope, it didn't.
There's our Zixer.
There's Zixer. So we're hitting the button.
Yep.
That's happened. Do we lose? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's showing 10 to us. So we have to Zixer to take out the 4-2.
Correct.
I think he might have won. I don't see a line where we could have gone ahead. It came down to the draw. So he needs 1 damage, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, he needs 1 damage. He used Unleash the Hounds, of course. He couldn't unleash here anyways.
He doesn't have Zephyrus.
Kill Command is lethal.
Yeah.
Bran is lethal. So he's acting like he has it. Let's see if he does. And
well played.
Baiting us? Is he baiting us? No, he's acting like he has it.
Oh,
he does. He did have it. Okay, but that's a mirror match. It does obviously came right down to a coin flip. Neither of us got our Diner Tamer brands. I don't see a line where we could have squeaked out another point of damage.
Yeah.
We pretty much used our hero power anytime we could, so I'm not unhappy with that game. I mean, mirror matches are mirror matches.
Right.
They're pretty much a coin flip at that point, and I think he's running our exact list.
Yeah.
I didn't see any deviation from the main list. And again, I like when buffs and nerfs happen in the middle of a play meta, because then we're going to kind of see. Right now, we're seeing the staleness start to set in, and come tomorrow, everything's going to flip.
Right.
I don't think we need to keep the tracking.
No.
If this is Murloc, we want to keep the Explosive Trap.
Okay.
And I think we want to keep the Fey the fairy dragon just for any activators. But I want a coin Imprisoned Felmaw on turn 1. So I think we just throw back tracking. What do you think?
I like that. I think that's the smart play.
I think coin Imprisoned Felmaw is the way to go.
Yes, that is. Our
I can't
turn
imagine anything he does
and,
until
and we draw into Zixer for turn 3. So
that's great. Murlocs. So coin, Imprisoned Felmaw. If he develops any kind of whiteboard, we're going to throw down the Explosive Trap. And he went wide. Do we want to get greedy with this and just Corrosive Breath the 3/2? Or do we want an Explosive Trap to pretty much get? I mean, he would have to have the buff, the buff health.
I was gonna say the buff health Murloc is 3 mana, right?
Yeah, and that would wreck us.
That would wreck us.
But if we Corrosive Blast the 3/2, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I think you go ahead and Corrosive Blast.
Okay, and this allows us to use see what happens with the Felmaw, and then use the Apex Predator to kind of clean up.
Yeah.
Oh, going wide more. I don't think we Explosive Trap now, though.
Yeah.
Hit a minion, hit a minion, hit a minion. I'll take it.
Now play Zixer and clear one of the 2/1s.
Yep. Wait, is this a golden Murloc deck?
It looks
Did
like
he have the coin? Or did we had the coin?
Yeah,
so I couldn't see if he had a golden coin or not. Oh, okay. He's not all golden. This is fine.
Yeah.
I think we just Fairy Dragon Hero Power?
I think so.
Or do you want to track for anything? It'll float him in if we do that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we Fairy Dragon Hero Power this turn.
Because if we Fairy Dragon Hero Power, that's not a static buff, it's a Battlecry buff. So you use a Battlecry buff just to clear minions. So if he trades into the 3/2 and then develops wide again, we can Explosive Trap. Hand of a Doll? Does he trade? I'd love to get a... Well, maybe not now. Sun Go. That card is so slow. I wish they buffed it. Okay, so we can't Dragon Main this turn. Tracking?
Yeah. See what we get.
Vase of Feywing?
It contests the 6/6.
We
really got to get rid of that 6/6.
Yeah, but we don't have a real way to do it. I think we play the Evasive Feywing to tempt him to run into it.
What is the Locust? Is the Locust a beast? It's not, is it?
Yeah, it's a beast, but we wouldn't be able to play it this turn.
No, we wouldn't. I was just thinking next turn we could, or this turn we could Desert Spear, then next turn we could Locust Kill Command.
I'd like to Dragon Bait. Well, no, I won't be. We're going to have to play Explosive Trap next turn.
Yeah, you're
okay.
Right.
So I think Desert Spear is the play here. I think you're right. You convinced me.
Okay.
Let's go with Desert Spear and clear the 1/1.
Yeah.
I'm going to use a face and leave. I'm going to leave. Actually, no. I'm gonna hit it.
Yeah. Go ahead and hit it. Put it within range.
Just in case he finds a way to buff it.
Right.
Because I want to play the Explosive Trap next turn, and we can play Kill Command next to it. Murder girl. Oh.
Damn. That's rough.
That's real rough, actually. I don't know if we have a way. So, yeah. So we play the Explosive Trap.
So
we hit the 2/3.
We hit the two. No,
we hit the Murker.
Yeah, pop that. Go ahead and kill command the 6/7, I think.
Yep, and then run into the Murker, or do we run into 2/3?
Whichever one I think is.
We're okay if Murker stays alive.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's run into 2/3. We are telegraphing, and I'm throwing this out just so you can run into it. We are telegraphing Explosive Trap.
Correct.
So if he has anything that buffs health, we pretty much lose. Hand of a Doll. That's still not lethal.
That is
lethal.
lethal.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. With the there we go. He didn't need. All he needed was the Navigator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Murloc Paladin.
I haven't seen it lately. I tell you, I love seeing it when I'm on my Pure Paladin because it eats it.
Yeah.
For lunch.
All right. Well, there you go.
Oh, and we don't know what's going to happen with the balance changes tomorrow, if this is going to make this deck get better or worse. It does have one card in it that's being nerfed, but I think it's the least impactful. It's one of the cards that you can actually play after the nerf, and I think be pretty safe. All of them, for the most part, are still going to be played, I think. But I think the Scavengers Ingenuity is the least impacted because that +1/+1 is not. It does what you want it to do by drawing your beast,
right,
and giving it a buff of any kind. If it was +1/+1, it'd probably be fine.
The only beast in this deck is Zixter, right?
No.
Diving Griffin.
Diving Griffin and the Stalker, Phase Stalker.
Okay, and Phase Stalker.
And having a big Phase Stalker is, that's pretty big.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, guys. That's going to do it for us this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please feel free to send us an email at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button on YouTube if you haven't done so already, or give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted when we go live. Also, for more details on our patron-only Discord, head on over to patreon.com/heropower. And until next week, good gaming.
I smell dinner. Bye, guys.